Welcome back to the Wake Up Bright podcast. I'm April Lauren, and I love sharing stories that inspire me. In today's episode of the podcast, I have Lucy Shaw. Lucy has lost 91 pounds and has literally gone from the couch to training for her first ever ultra marathon. Let's welcome Lucy. Well, Lucy, thank you so much for agreeing to come on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I recently found your videos. I think it was maybe December or January. I was just looking for running content, and then I found your channel, and the whole premise for you creating your channel, I had been looking, it's kind of the same thing. I couldn't find anyone where it's they wanted to run, but maybe they felt awkward about running, but it was something that they were passionate about. And so I love that you had created a channel with all of these videos.
Yeah, starting the channel was kind of, I couldn't find that online, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I really wanted to be a runner, and I was kind of embarrassed about it. And I wouldn't tell anyone. I didn't talk about it. I kind of kept it in. And obviously I was a lot heavier at the time. And I think that's why I was embarrassed to mention it. So when I would look online, I would find really inspiring people, really motivating people, but I just couldn't relate. I kept thinking, well, they didn't really start like this.
Yeah.
So it's the thought of the jump from being me turning into them. It felt unrealistic.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to find that person who got it,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, and I feel like anytime we start something that's completely new to us, and maybe it's common for people to have done it for a long time, that it creates this huge insecurity type of barrier to entry. Whether it's working out or, maybe it's just learning how to sew. A lot of people learn how to sew from their grandma or their mom, and they're you don't know. And it's oh, I feel so awkward. I'm trying to start, and maybe my niece can sew better than me. And, she's 11. So things like that. Where did your desire to run come from?
I don't really know. Years and years ago, I did run a little bit. So I'm 32 now, and probably when I was about 21, 20, I used to go and I used to run, but I wasn't really into it. It wasn't really a hobby or a passion. It was just something I just wanted to do. But I didn't get into it. I think it was the right hobby, but it was the wrong time. Yeah. I think I needed to really want it to get where I am now, really. Yeah. So I've always wanted to be a runner, but I just never thought I was good enough.
Did you do much physical activity before you started running, or did you just kind of dive in with intervals?
Well, so in 2020 is when it all started for me. I was 230 pounds. That was my heaviest. Exercise-wise, zero. So when people say couch to 5K, I literally was couch. I didn't do anything. And I used to struggle to walk the dog, for example. My husband, he's military, bought our dog Storm. You might have seen him in a video. I don't know. I don't think I put him in many videos, but
I feel like I've heard you talk about him. I've watched several videos. I had watched several videos before, through January and a little bit in December, because it's so comforting. It's so comforting when you're trying to do something just to hear someone else kind of struggle through it. So a lot of your videos I was watching is just older. So, and I guess I come at a little bit different place in that I had worked up to, I guess, a level of fitness. And so running for me hurts less than walking. So I can walk pretty fast, but then I hyperextend my legs. And so slow, and I'm so slow. So I can't relate to you. You're very fast compared to me.
Wow. I don't feel fast.
Yeah. But it's funny how everything changes with perspective. I would say and I think you were talking about how in a recent video I was playing earlier today, I think it's just one of your recent videos on your channel that you did your fastest like half marathon time.
Yes, that was
And
recently.
Like, yeah, you're like, I can't believe I did this in less than 4 hours, not the half marathon, but like your whole run. Like, I think, was it a 50K or something?
Oh, it was 20 miles.
20 miles. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's really fast.
That run was just incredible, because I'm training at the moment for a 50K that's booked in end of June, I think it is. And that 20 miler, that's going to stay in my memory for a long time, because my training, I've improved so much that run was a slow, easy paced run, and I broke records during that run. And it was something that just I absolutely love about running. It's just all of the achievements, everything that can happen. I mean, the fact that I can run 20 miles in itself is mind-blowing, even now, to me. And the fact that I can do that and get a half marathon PB without even trying, it's just the best. Money can't buy. It's just the best.
No, that's really awesome. I feel like anytime something about physicality, when you do something that you couldn't, or you do something that you thought you couldn't, either way, there's like this little surge of like, it's not really adrenaline, but it's like, it's a good feeling. That's what it is, whatever it is.
It really is.
And then it pushes us further. So your husband's in the military, and then I took a little detour and interrupted you. And I did again.
So Matt's in the military. So we bought a Siberian Husky, because he's the fittest person I know. My husband has run 100 miles in one go. He's insane. And so he wanted a dog that he could run with. So we got a Siberian Husky, Storm, and when he's away, which obviously he's away a lot, for long periods of time, I would have to obviously look after the dog, take the dog out. And that was one of the things that used to worry me when he'd go away, because I used to struggle in the summertime when I was bigger. I would just sweat and I would be uncomfortable. My back would hurt. And it was just, and I used to kept telling myself, I'm literally just going for a walk. I'm just walking. And it used to make me hate myself. And obviously, I've got to take the dog out. If I didn't, he would ruin the house and it would just be cruel, wouldn't it? So it was just one of those things. It was just like, I used to get really worried about doing it. So that was just one of the reasons. Was I just thought, I need to make a change, because this isn't right. This isn't healthy for me. Yeah. So that was one of the things. Obviously, he runs with Storm, and then one of my dreams, which I never thought was ever going to come true, was I wanted to run Storm. I wanted to go for a run with my dog, because Matt and Storm they're always running together. That's all they do. He never really walks in it. It's always running. And and then when I finally got to go out and run with him, it was just like, wow, considering I couldn't even walk with him.
That's amazing.
Like previously,
That's awesome. Yeah. So mine, so Julio did the Couch to 5K with me. So they never really ran. So they don't particularly, Julio is not a typical German Shepherd. He's like a very chill, like he likes to chase balls. He gets very aggressive with the squirrels, and there's some like black crows that will like mess with him. Like they'll like fly overhead, and he'll run. He can run and does run. And he enjoyed doing the Couch to 5K with me. He just wants to be outside for as long as he possibly can. And then my other German Shepherd, she is a very typical German Shepherd, but like literally she would just like lay down. She's like, oh, you want me to run? Like if my husband tried to run her because she's such high energy, and she's like, absolutely no. Where is my mom? Like, this is not right. Like, I will not go with you. But so I started running her eventually with me, and now she won't walk. Like,
oh no.
She's like, I have to run. And so I wonder if that's kind of like with your husky. And I feel like that would be insanely intimidating to be faced with walking Chipper now. Like when, especially like even just like a year and a half ago when I was walking, but it was a lot slower and there was still like some discomfort in walking. Like now I don't know how far I would have to walk before, or how steep the incline would have to be before I literally felt like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. Like, I feel like I could probably do it forever.
I love that.
Yeah. It's a good feeling, because that has not always been the case. But yeah, I feel like that would be very daunting to try to take her for a walk when she wants to run. And I feel like it's probably the same with your husky. Like, it's not just like you're taking him for a walk, but like he wants to go fast and you can't. And then it's look at you with those like little faces. And how long did it take you to feel confident enough to try to run him?
Quite a while. I started off on the treadmill, because what happens, well, eventually COVID happened and all the lockdowns, and I would spend my evenings on a treadmill in the kitchen, and that's when I was doing sort of intervals. I started couch to 5K, but it was too hard. I couldn't do it at that point. So I eventually got to the point where I could run for 1 minute, and then I had to walk for 9 to recover from that 1 minute. And then I kind of did couch to 5K, but I did my own version of it, if that makes sense. So I just did intervals basically. And from there to running the dog was probably quite a long time. Maybe, I want to say like a year and a half, maybe, of training before I left the house with Storm. It may not be that long, but I'm going to say roughly a year and a half.
Yeah. I bet it was an amazing feeling.
It was surreal. Yeah.
Did it feel easier than you thought it would when you actually went to take them?
It was interesting. It was different, because obviously he was wrapped around my waist, and I wasn't used to being pulled. Like, if there was a squirrel, he would go, and I didn't quite know how to control him properly. And but I mean, I can do it now. It's a lot easier now. But the first one, I think I got winded because he like saw something and like darted off, and then I'm pulled on, and but it doesn't do that now. I know what to do with him now.
That's a thing. Like, I feel like I'm just now really affected with that they can pull me. Like, well, together they can always pull me, but one-on-one, it's only like the last maybe year or so that they could pull me, and only even more recently that it's harder for me to like pull back. Because I'm like, what are they going to do? I'm just going to sit down. Like, what are they going to do? But now they're like, we're going to take you with us. So it's fun. Been running. Where did it go from, okay, I want to run, I want to be able to run my pup, to I would like to run a race, like just maybe a 5K? Like, when did you get to that point?
Well, initially, when I first started, it was just solely walking. And my husband was away, actually. I think he was in Kenya at the time. And then when he came back, I was in a stage where I was walking, and I walked 3.1 miles on the treadmill. And he walked into the kitchen, and he just looked at the numbers on the treadmill, and he went, "Oh, you've done a 5K." And I just looked at him, and I was like, "Have I?" Because I didn't even know how long a 5K was. And the fact that he told me I just walked 5K, I didn't correlate me doing a 5K in any form, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, no way. So I write the time down, and that's kind of how it kind of initiated. It was like, okay, I can walk 5K. I can do that. And then it got to a point where I want to run 5K. Now that took me a long time. Eventually I did it, but then eventually I built up to running a mile non-stop on the treadmill, and then I booked my first race, which was a 10K. I started in February 2020, like the walking, and then my race was October 2020. And that was when I ran my first ever 10K. So from there, at some point I walked 5K probably So I started in the February. I probably did that 5K walk in the March. And then from there, I was like, I want to run. I want to do a race. But that was so intimidating. The thought of actually going to a race, like, I think I'd lost about 40 pounds at that point. And I wanted to have like a sign on my back saying like, I've lost 40 pounds to be here. Like,
that would have been a great shirt.
Yeah, I knew. And the thing is as well with that race, actually, I came last out of everyone who ran the 10K, but looks like I came first. If you looked at everyone else there, I was the happiest person on that field. It was like a horrible, wet, rainy day, and it was on a field, and it's called a medal chaser. So It's like big loops, and you can do a 5K or a marathon or an ultra marathon. I can't remember. So it's basically however many loops you can do, then you'll get a medal for it. So I got 2 medals. I got a 5K and a 10K because I did 2 loops. And so I was sat on this wet, miserable field, and everyone else was like all of their medals, and I had my 2 medals, and I was the happiest person there. I was so happy. I couldn't believe I was there.
And you lost 40 pounds and then you did your race. I'm like so emotional. I don't know why. It's not just this, but it's like everything. It's like I watched something sad on TV like this past week, or like I just went and saw my friend and I'm like holding her baby and I'm just like, I just keep crying, but I feel like all teary. So don't think I'm super weird, but I'm like, that's just so amazing. But you got
you know what I mean. You know, you've been there, you know how hard you have to work. I mean, you could tell your story to anybody, but if they don't know how hard you have to work, then they won't get it, you know? So it's nice to say to someone who gets it.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting, just weight loss. Like I guess mine's a little different, but so similar. So I started sharing my weight loss because I literally have never seen anyone just try to, like, whenever you talk to like most, not all doctors, but a lot of doctors or a dietitian or like most people, they're like, well, you know, eat a healthy diet and, you know, try to make a little bit better choices and like make a lifestyle, but you don't really see that. Like you don't see people sharing that type of story. And I didn't even know when I first started sharing like what that would or could look. I didn't know what that meant. I just know I had never seen it. And so then trying to figure out what just eating a healthy, balanced diet. And then like, it really is mind boggling that for much like with running or training for running, every body is so individual that everyone needs slightly different things. Like there's no perfect recipe for you to be a great runner. And there's no perfect recipe for you to have a perfect diet that other people could then take and get the same results that you will. So there are both of those things that are perfect for you, but it's different. It's slightly different for every single one of us. And I think that's really interesting. So your 10K, I have my first 10K this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm not supposed to try to run all out. It's basically a practice run. I can't remember what she called it. So I have a coach. And I actually met her when I was doing my couch to 5K. And it was after I had started running. I think I was running like 20 minutes and I run slow. It's like a shuffle. It's not like I'm like, I run 20 minutes and I'm amazing. It's more like I run 20 minutes and, you know, most of the grandmas on the street are going to walk past me. So like, and that's okay. Cause it's still
running
and it feels good. And I love it. And I'm every month I'm faster or I can go further or it feels better and I feel stronger. So there's always like marks for progress. But I was talking to her and she's like, well, you know, you don't have to run your whole 5K. And I was like, what? Because I was like,
I feel great when someone says that.
Does. Well, because I was like, you know, I'm not hitting, it's like a 20-minute run. And I'm like, I'm not near a 5K. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like my 5K training, my couch to 5K training is almost over. And it was a by time. So by the end of the 5K, and they wanted you to do it in like 30. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to risk injury. And I don't know if I could. Like, if something was chasing me, I don't know that I could. So when she said that, I was just like, wow, huh. And then it just kind of started reframing the way I was looking at it. I mean, I knew I was never going to push into like a zone of potentially hurting myself. Because it's just not worth it. Like there's discomfort and like feeling really uncomfortable, like really tired or exhausted. And then there's like pain.
Yes.
And I think you've talked a little bit about both in recent videos. So how did you go from 10K to ultra marathon? Like 10K? Because that's like a big jump.
Well, the jump that I did make was I went from I did my 10K race, and I met a really good friend who, I mean, she's a really good friend now, but obviously I met her at that race, and she booked in to do Manchester Marathon the next October. So now we're in 2021. October 2021, she booked to do Manchester Marathon, and she had been running longer than me, and she was much. She did the half marathon on the day I did the 10K, so she had more experience, and she was so nervous. And she was like, I don't know if I could do it. She really, really wanted to be a marathoner. And she made me really want to be one too. So I skipped the half and I booked the marathon for October as well.
Yeah.
And do you know what it is? I was just naive. That's all it was. And to be honest, I think I wouldn't change it for the world. I think I did the right thing, just jumping in and booking it. Because it was one of the best moments of my life, the best thing I ever did. And I think I booked it in the February maybe of 2021, or maybe the January. I can't remember now. It feels like forever ago. And then I spent all of that year training. I did most of my weekend runs were with her as well, actually. We trained together. And and I built myself up. And I ran my first half marathon with my husband, and just around the houses, around the streets.
I remember you made a video, because I think I watched that video.
Yeah, I think that was my second ever one. I filmed that one with him. That was part of my training. And I remember thinking at the time, what have I done? I can't imagine doing this again. You know, like after I'd finished a half marathon, I was like, that's only halfway there. What am I doing? But I think the fact that it felt so impossible, and I genuinely, I used to get emotional. I can't do it. I just can't do it. My body can't do it. And it was such a roller coaster. But by the time I got there, and by the time I did it, it just made it so much better. It made it even more phenomenal that I actually finished it. Because I remember my husband, I sat down and I was saying to him, like, I don't know if I can do this, because there was 4 of us, and it was me, my friend, my husband, and her husband. And out of the 4 of us, if there was going to be one that wasn't going to do it, it was me. 100%, it was going to be me. And I thought, like, I don't want to be the only one without the medal.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else will. And then he looked at me, my husband looked at me, and he said to me, where's the fun in knowing you're going to finish? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, you're
crazy.
So right. Why didn't I think of that? And because he completed an Ironman triathlon in 2019, and his experience with that was he didn't know if he was going to finish it or not.
Yeah.
And that's what made him excited. That's what got him going.
Yeah.
And yeah, when he said that to me, I was like, I've now adopted that in all aspects of my life. Like, if I'm nervous or anxious about something, if I don't know if I can do it, I just think, what if I do?
Yeah.
Where's the fun in knowing I'm going to, like, now I don't get that excited about running a marathon because I've done 2 now. So I know I can do it. That's why I've now gone, okay, maybe I should do an ultra, because I'm back in that position where it's like, this is unthinkable. I don't think I can do it. I'm doubting myself. But where's the fun in knowing I'm going to finish? Let's do it. Let's try.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's a great mantra. I listened to a lot of, and I started doing this. I don't remember why, but I had gotten an ultra marathon, or maybe it wasn't even an ultra marathon book, but it was a book on running. And it was an ultra marathoner who had written it. And there were just a lot of parallels in like the darkness, I guess, that this person was talking about that they go through in their mind while they're running. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like that parallels what I go through just trying to like live and lose weight, like, because it's such a long thing. And so it's kind of where I started listening. But now I listen to a lot of those books, and it's very common thread that you should have some sort of mantra, especially if you're doing like an ultra, like what you just said. And sometimes that's what literally carries you through. I wouldn't know from experience, obviously.
You will know. You'll get the experience. You'll be like, if I can do it, anyone can. I know that saying is thrown around a lot, but genuinely, if I can do it, I honestly believe anybody can. That's why I want to encourage people on my channel, just please try, and because you can. I believe that they can do it.
They can't. I think the interesting thing with most things is that we really can do anything. Like, there isn't much that people are not capable of doing. It's more what gets in our way is the expectation of finishing and the time limit we put on it. So it's not just doing it. It's that I want to do it, and I want to do it, next week. Like, and that's not always going to happen. So I kind of definitely not heeding your husband's advice. So I signed up for my half marathon, and I didn't realize until like, I don't know, it was like 2 weeks later or something, that there was a hard time cap for miles. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to push, because I'm like, my whole idea with the half marathon is I'm like, well, I could walk a half marathon. I don't know how long it would take, but like, I'm going to finish. But then I saw that time cap, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to finish. And so they have like a slow bus that will literally pick you up. And I'm like, I'm running in front of that slow bus. Like, you can't catch me. But I signed up for a second one about a month after. So that way I don't want to get in my head and push past pain, like a bad pain. Like hey, this is probably an injury and you should stop. Like, and I know if I don't have something back up, I will.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself from pushing to a point of injury?
Well, I'm actually recovering at the moment, because I had a bit of an injury the last couple of weeks in my leg. And I think with injury, I've been injured a few times during this process, and I just have to realize it is part of it. And I don't like to push myself to the point where I'm going to injure myself. I kind of know my limits, but at the same time, I don't always keep on top of the warm-ups. I don't always keep on top of the stretching. So any of my injuries, they're all my fault. Yeah, really. And so I just know it's going to be part of the journey, and I've accepted it. So, and I've kind of, because I've been injured so often, I know what the injuries are now. Whereas before, I was in the dark. How long is this going to take? It's like, how am I going to fix it? How have I caused it? So now I can kind of be like, okay, I've had this before. I'll do what I did last time. It's going to take about this time. And it's just part of it, really. I can't be scared to be injured, otherwise I won't end up going for a run. And so I recently read a book. It's called Run Like a Pro, Even If You're Slow. And I was like, how could I not read that book? Because I do run so slow. But they go through some of the mistakes that
beginner or like novice runners make, especially like when we start a little later in life. And one of the common threads is that we do too much and go too hard in a way that does cause that injury, where just slowing down or like trusting yourself. If your body's like, hey, I'm not ready to run today, like don't run. But it's also a fine line of, am I just being like lazy and I don't want to run? Or does my body like need a moment so that I can run tomorrow? Like it's a hard thing to juggle.
Yeah.
I think the more miles you do, the more important recovery becomes and fueling becomes, all of those little details. Have you had a coach or thought about getting a coach for any part? Or does your husband kind of do that for you? Or do you just self-coach?
I'm queen of winging it, really. I just kind of, with me, I'm so kind of like, I know my body, and I know what I will and won't want to do or be able to do. Because the thing is with me, if I hate something, so I don't know what example to use, like burpees, for example, I absolutely hate them. I just hate them. I hate doing them. I hate how I feel after them. I hate the thought of I'm gonna have to do them. So if I force myself to do burpees, for example, if they were in a training plan that someone gave me, I wouldn't do the training plan. It would sacrifice the whole thing, because I know I wouldn't do the burpees. So for me, I kind of have to tailor it to what I know I'm going to do. So there's certain things like burpees that I just don't bother doing, because I just know it won't work for me. So if I would worry that I would get a coach and I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Well, I mean, if you ever, I think you should do whatever it is that you feel like you want and to do. And if doing it the way that you've been doing it brings you joy and it's the way, then that's what you should do. But with my coach, if there's something that like I don't want to do, like it's not that I don't do something in order to achieve the goal that she has for me, but she's not going to give me burpees. If I hate burpees and I'm like, burpees are the bane of my existence, like I'm not going to do it, she's not going to put it on my training plan. I think most good coaches are like that. Not that you need a coach, but yeah. So
I am quite lucky, because my husband, he's a military PCI as well. So he's got the knowledge that I need. So what I do is I just pick little bits. Like, can you just help me with it? Can you just do this little plan? Can you just like set me up a little workout? And and he'll be like, okay. But he doesn't get involved. Yeah. He knows to kind of like, he'll just give me like, okay, maybe look at that. You should do this a little bit more, put some more intervals in and things like that. And he helps me out like that. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. So for those of you listening, getting a coach can be like a huge, I don't know, like I did not want to get a coach for so many different reasons. One, I'm like, well, there's all these plans online and I don't like, why would I need a coach? Like kind of thoughts like that. And for me, it ended up being really good. And then I found as I proceeded forward that I would have done everything a lot more aggressive. And then I would have burnt out. Like I would have done so much that I would have ended up injured or just burnt out. And then I would have just quit, because pretty much her entire training plan is like, when we first sat down, she's like, okay, like all of that you do and that you want to do will not fit in with your recovery. Like, and in order to do running, it's kind of like you have to choose. And I'm like, well, but I don't want to choose. I don't want to do that. So it was kind of like not just scaling things back, but then doing things with a certain intention. And it ended up being really good for me. There are training plans online. If you ever do decide to get a coach, then you should interview coaches until you find someone that will fit your personality and give you guidance in the way that you want, whether that's your spouse or a coach. I'm going to step off my soapbox about coaching or running. But it can be really, all of it's just really intimidating going to someone or like being like, so another stumbling block, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but here I am, is that I was like, oh man, if I get a running coach, it's like, I'm saying like, I'm so important that I need a running coach, because in my mind,
really?
only really important people would have like a running coach, right? Like you have to be like really amazing at running to need a coach. But that wasn't true for me. Like or for most of the people, my coaches like, and then it was just a learning experience. I don't know. So
I suppose that would be something that I guess people would think that, I guess. I mean, I don't know, that didn't really enter my head really to think, but yeah, I can understand.
So 50K, when is your 50K?
I think it's the end of June, or is it June? I think so. I think it's the end of June.
That's really cool. What does running do for you? Like, what is it? How has it changed how you live your life?
Oh my God, it's just changed everything. I don't know how to explain it really. I guess before I started losing weight, I didn't have anything in my life that the harder I worked, the more I would get out. So with all of my with all of my past employments, I was working in I worked in the NHS for years, and it wasn't a job that the harder you work, the more you'll get out of it. It was, you have to look after everybody. You have to work hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is your job. And with everything else, it was like when I became a mum. But I mean, obviously, like the harder you work, you don't get a promotion. You have to work hard. You're a mum. This is how it is. And and then I would watch my husband training for his Ironman or whatever he was training for, and the harder he worked, the more he got out of it, and he saw improvement, and he worked hard. And I kept thinking, I crave that. I crave hard work. I want to work hard at something. And then when I had the ability to run, and I kind of did enough intervals where the harder I push myself, I know I will see results. I might not see them next week, I might not see them next month, but the harder I work for as long as I can. And once I did start getting those results, it was addictive. It was, okay, I'm going to work even harder. I'm going to keep working hard. And I adopted that. And I've taken it with me. Like, it's a hobby that never ends. There's no end destination, really. It's just brilliant. It's something that I've got for me, because for a long time I felt like a wife and a mum, and that's all I was. I didn't have any hobbies. Everything was for them. Everything was for someone else. And running is purely for me. It's purely for my health. It's purely for my mind as well. It's a way of having me time, and it's just the mental health benefits of running are incredible, insane. I could go for one run, and it doesn't matter what's happened. My whole mindset, my whole attitude will completely change. And it's not something that I considered in the beginning. I didn't consider that people run for their mental health, or they train for their mental health. And it was a benefit and a bonus that I just didn't foresee. And I absolutely love it. It's just changed my life. Learning to run.
I love that. So it's, in essence, giving you not just something for yourself, but also a little extra purpose. And it is something that I feel like a lot of professions that we have, where work is not evenly split amongst people. And often the harder you work, it just means the more work you're going to do, which in itself is not bad, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're growing. And I think the cool thing about becoming a runner or starting to run, you have that growth. And then it bleeds into other aspects of our lives, like just mental health benefits or doing it anyway. Or like the excitement. So like, I love how when you're vlogging your runs, like you'll vlog little pieces and you're like, I hate this. This is awful. But then like a couple miles later, you're like, this is amazing. Like, this is the best thing. Yeah. Like, it's such a, every run is like a little journey in itself. And it's really fun that you capture that. What advice do you have for people who are thinking about starting to run?
I think the best piece of advice I could give would be, remember, this is all absolutely brand new to you. You need to practice literally everything. So when I very first started, I remember thinking my evenings were for relaxing, sitting in front of the telly. I've been busy all day with, at the time she was a toddler and my husky, my husband's away. It's my relaxing time. So I wasn't used to putting workout clothes on. So, and I wasn't used to turning on the treadmill and walking on the treadmill in the evening. So what I used to do was I used to just practice turning up. I used to practice over and over again. Even if I only walked for 10 minutes on that treadmill, I've turned up, I've arrived. And I think that's something that was really, really beneficial, because if I didn't do that and I just forced myself to be doing a certain workout every single time, and I put the pressure on the workout, then I wouldn't have got into the habit of, right, baby's in bed, let's get changed, let's get on the treadmill. That part there just became natural. It just happened automatically. And then I'd focus on, right, I'm going to do this workout, I'm going to walk for this long. So now, if I don't want to go for a run, because I practice turning up so much, it's kind of like you're on autopilot. Like I used to say to myself, I don't want to go to work today, but I would get in my car and I would still go because that's my autopilot. Yeah. So I would just say, just practice the little things. It's all brand new. If you want to start the gym, get ready, get your workout clothes on, get in the car, go to the gym. Even if you're only there for 5 minutes, you've been there, go home the next day, try again. And then once you get over the hump of turning up at the gym, because you need to practice that as well if you're not used to doing it, being in that environment. I would say just practice everything. It's all a learning curve, and celebrate every single thing. Don't hold back. Don't say, when I run a mile, I'll be happy. No. If you can run an extra minute longer than you did the last time, celebrate. Like really, truly celebrate as well, because that's what I did.
I love that. I love all of that. It is about making little habits and overcoming fears or like the things that hold us back. It's really powerful. Can you touch on running whilst being a mom to a toddler? Like, what did that look like for you?
So I had to work it around. That's why I did it in the evenings, like when she was in bed, because obviously at the time I was running on a treadmill, so I was lucky in the sense that I didn't have to have childcare to go out and run and whatnot. I could just do it in the house. But I couldn't do it in the day or when she was awake, just because I was so anxious. I'm on this machine and if she comes over and she touches it and I can't watch her. And so, it had to be in the evenings that I did that. Yeah. And obviously if she woke up, I'd have to pause, go up there all hot and sweaty. but it wasn't too bad.
Now, do you take her with you? Do you like have a running stroller, or how does that look for you?
She's nearly 5 now, and she's actually running herself now. She does little park runs. She's just started that, which is amazing. But what we do is, because Matt and I both run, obviously, we have to like take it in turns.
Yeah.
So I'll go in the morning and do my run. He'll stay home with our daughter, and then when I come back, he'll go. And that's kind of how we work it. And if we get childcare, then we'll run together.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How often is your husband gone?
Oh, it varies. It varies. Yeah. He'll come home one day and be like, oh, I'm going here for like 2 weeks. And then he'll come back the next day and be like, I'm not going anymore.
Yeah, same, which it used to not be that well. I guess the whole time my husband has been active duty military, it's been in different areas, but new is, hey, I got to go. Maybe I'm going to be gone for a week. Maybe I'm going to be gone for a month. I don't know. And then it's like, oh, actually, we're not going anywhere. So all of that stress, like it completely like changes everything. For like 3 days, you have like a plan, like I'm going to go to the dentist. I don't know. And then like the 3 days happen and it's like a big shakeup. And then it's like, actually, just kidding.
Yeah. I know, it is annoying. I'm used to it now. I take everything with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
I love it. Is there any part of your story that you would like to share with those who are listening that I haven't touched on or asked questions?
Oh, I'm not sure.
That's like a really broad and terrible question. I'm sorry. That's me, not you. So take your time if there is anything. And if not, I will make something else up. Well, I actually have a couple more. So
I think maybe for me, I think it was a case of believing in myself. I never ever believed in myself before, and there was something that in me that switched. And the longer I continued to run, and the more I got out of it, the more I started to believe that I could. And when I did my first marathon in Manchester, genuinely, I did not know if I was going to cross that finish line. I just didn't know, even like during the run. And to be honest, that marathon I didn't have a very good run on the day. I didn't feel good. And I was a bit worried because I think it was about halfway through, I got halfway and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm not feeling very good. But I think that's what made it so incredible when I did do it, when I did finish it. And the belief in myself that gave me was massive. And it's not just the confidence, it really is, if you truly do believe in yourself and you really truly believe in your body, because you can do it. You can do it. That belief, the belief you have in yourself is so much stronger than the belief from anybody else in the world. Like, it doesn't matter who they are. If everyone in the world believed in me, it still wouldn't match or come close to the difference my belief in myself makes. And I wish I believed in myself a lot sooner in life.
Yeah.
I think it's believing in yourself.
And it's so true, like that, believing and just having your confidence. And the reality is until you find a way of testing yourself, whatever that means for you, the confidence will never come. Like the belief in yourself will never come. Because I feel like I've lived most of my life that is other people do that. So
yes.
Let other people run and enjoy it and they're fast, or other people do this. And maybe it's something that I want, but it's like, I don't do that. And it's not until you have those little confidence boosting things that you start doing, or like even just the act of putting on your gym clothes and turning on your treadmill. It seems like for you was like the start of that, where you're like, I can get up or not really get up, but I can put my daughter to sleep and put my gym clothes on. Like that can happen. And it can happen day after day. Like I can do that. So what else can I do? And then you start and it just builds. But and I love that about running, the confidence that comes with miles. So I just did a long run this weekend. It was 10 miles. And I was like, how in the world? But like every single long run has been that since past 4. So I had done I did my 5K. And then like the next week I did a 4-mile run. And I did, of course, intervals. But then since then, it was like, that was it. So when I did 5, I'm like, how am I going to do 5? Like, how is that even possible? And then it's like 6. How? I do feel like 7 and 8 and then 10, because we jumped from 8 to 10. I feel like those got into darker parts of I feel like up to 6 was pretty easy. Like, I didn't think it was easy at the time. When I did my first 6 miles, I thought like, this is terrible. Is that relatable? Is
100%. Yeah.
Like up to 6 was like, it was mostly all good. Like I was doing it and I was like, like, it's like every single time I'm like, and then once I hit 6, I was like, oh, and then I did 7. And then we had a week of training where we like regressed. So we did less. Do you have any experiences like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was very intimidating, adding miles. I remember when I ran my first mile nonstop, I cried because I was so happy. I came bursting in the living room and my husband was like, why are you crying? I just ran a mile. And I just remember thinking, hold on a minute, I've got to do that again.
Yeah.
Again and again. And again, and it was very intimidating. Yeah, definitely.
I'm nowhere near the half marathon mark that you were, but I so related when you got done with the 20 miles and you were looking back and you're like, that was a PR for like my half marathon. Like, cause it's amazing when you're going through. So as I've shared multiple times now, I just run slow, but I'll just keep going. So I can run for miles and miles now, slow. So it's my pace. But when I get done sometimes and I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my goodness, I just ran the last 3 of 7 miles faster than I've ever ran 3 miles. Like,
oh, wow.
That's crazy. Like, and our bodies are just so resilient. And the kinder we are, I feel like, to our bodies, but more importantly to ourselves, like mentally, I think the better and easier hard things become, which is weird. I think that's weird. Like being kind to ourselves has that much power. And I wonder if that being kind has, and maybe you have some insight into this, but that being kind to ourselves gives us permission to do the things that allow us to build confidence. I don't know. What do you think?
With me, I remember specifically when it came to the diet side of things, because obviously I needed to lose weight as well as run. I remember specifically being kind, making sure to be kind to myself, because if I wasn't, then I would end up punishing myself, if that makes sense. So I would then go into restrict, which would then turn into binge. And then I would hate myself. And then I just needed to, if I had a weak moment and I had way too much food than I was supposed to have, I remember saying, okay, this is where I don't punish myself, because for years before, the routine would be, I've overeaten, I'm a bad person, I now can't have breakfast tomorrow because I'm not allowed, and if I cannot have lunch as well, that will help. And that hasn't helped me. I ended up my BMI was in the obese category for a reason. That system didn't work. So I remember early days, if I'd eaten way too much than I was supposed to, I would specifically say to myself, tomorrow we start again. And that's it. And I would get on the scales. And if I put weight on, I remember telling myself, Lucy, this is just admin. It's not a big deal. This is just a number, and it will go up and it will go down. As long as it goes like this, then
Yeah.
we're good. As long as it just does this, then that's not good.
I love that phrase even. It's like you have all kinds of lovely little mantras, but like it's just admin. It's just admin.
I used to say that to myself.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
really
admin.
awesome. I love it. With weight loss, when you started running, were you also like, I want to run to lose weight, or were they separate? And if not, if they were the same, did they become separate? If so, when?
So it changed. My original reason was pure weight loss. I just needed to lose weight because I was so uncomfortable in my body, and I bought bigger clothes. So I had my daughter, and obviously I got pregnant, put weight on, and I never lost the weight. I just gained more afterwards. So I ended up getting larger clothes, and eventually they stopped fitting me. And that was a point where I don't want to buy the next size. I don't want to go the next size up. Yeah. So that was me. I just needed to lose some weight, at least get back into the old new big clothes. And then obviously the walking, it was just to exercise, just for weight loss. I was eating less and I was moving more. And I wanted to lose weight. And then obviously my husband mentioned, oh, you've just walked 5K. And it was like, And then it kind of went from maybe I could run. And if I ran, I would burn more calories. But eventually it turned into, actually, no, I want success as a runner. And weight loss will happen if I stick to my diet. I wasn't really on a diet, but if I stick to my diet. And then they kind of separated, I would say, around about the time I ran the 10K in October. I saw running as a hobby, not as a weight loss tool. It was, even though it is a tool for weight loss, but that's where they separated, really. Yeah. I would say.
Yeah. And I think it can be. I think what I've learned so far with the half marathon is that it's almost a little dangerous to try. Not dangerous. So one, I have been on a weight loss journey, and I do not like, my diet is not, it's not that it's so specific or like it's like rigid, but it is very dialed in. And so it's not like I'm going to clean up what I'm eating and then all of a sudden I'm going to have some success, and running might help with that. And so because of that, the running and the need to fuel has been, I feel like, a little challenging and made like the choices harder. Like, am I gonna, like when my coach, I felt horrified when she's like, okay, it's time to start practicing fueling while you're running. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I'm doing this not to gain weight. And of course, fueling does not make me gain weight. But in my mind, I was like a little bit horrified that I'm like, okay, but that's going to make me gain weight. And it's not. So it's very interesting. And I do feel like whenever, I don't know at what point in my life, because it's been a long time. I think it's because I had lost a lot of weight before doing a pretty wild diet. And I had to work out in order to maintain it. And I worked out a ton. And those workouts, I realized how good it was for like my mental health and like just for me overall. So then I had like this love of exercise and movement. And then I also had like this hate of food in my body. And it kind of came like, and then when I gained the weight back, I don't think I really, exercise was something I had held off for myself, because it's like, well, you don't exercise because you're too fat to exercise and you can't move like you want to move, which sounds crazy a little bit, but like that was kind of my head. And I had to actively give my self permission. And I'm like, no, we're not waiting until we look a certain way.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like, we're just going to start moving right now where we are. And it's almost like that little decision gave me permission to just look like a fool all of the time. Because if people are looking at me to see a fool, like, I really don't care. It's none of their business. Like, those people have other things. Like, most people don't look at other people to find fault and criticize, I find. And you've talked a lot about that. It's kind of running together. I think you've talked about it today. but I know you've talked about it in depth in other videos and things that you've made where the fear of being perceived, like the sweat. I think you did talk about it earlier in this conversation. And then you talked about it in videos too, like other people seeing you sweat.
Yeah, that was a big thing back then. Yeah, it was a really big thing. I think I was just so insecure of, I mean, obviously in the beginning, I was a lot bigger, and I do still see myself as a big, because I mean, I live in a military estate, and everyone around me who is running, they are fit soldiers. So I am always the biggest person out running. So my perception of a runner was not someone, it was not who I was. They weren't big, they were fit, strong, and healthy, and they weren't red faced, and they weren't out of breath, and they weren't dripping with sweat. But I obviously was. And that was a big thing for me, to go out and be in the open, in public, looking a way that I just felt so uncomfortable. But again, it's practice. I had to practice being out there and running. And now it's not even a thought in my mind what I look like. Yeah. I don't consider what I look like ever, to the point where I'm even filming myself and it's on the internet. So the thought, like way back then, if I thought I'm going to be out in public, not only that, I'm going to put it on the internet, I would have been like, no, there's no chance, there's no way. But eventually you just get confident. And obviously with the weight loss, I don't sweat as much, I don't get red in the face as much, and I can run without stopping now. Obviously back then I do still have a little bit of a complex where even if my run is finished and there's someone there, I don't like people to see me stop. Even now, it's really weird. I need to get over that.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm not saying it's awesome that you feel that way, but like, I think it's cute. It's fun how we all have like our little individual things. And I could see that, like, you're not going to see me stop running. Like, I'll show you. It's almost a little competitive. I feel like a
little bit. Yeah. It's kind of a bit like, I don't want them to think that I'm struggling, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm the big one here. I'm the big runner. And if I stop, that's kind of me being like, oh, I'm failing. But at the same time, if I see someone else running, or if they've stopped and walked, I'm not judging anybody. If anything, I'm cheering them on in my head. So yeah, it is quite funny that I do that to myself.
It is interesting that and I think that's a common thread for us all, that we, maybe not all, but most people look to uplift those around us, and then we're really brutal to ourselves. So being kind really helps. It really helps. And just practicing being kind. Sometimes it's hard. So you started by walking, and you really wanted to be able to walk your pup. And then that sort of led to like a surprise 5K, which kind of like lit a little bit of a fire. Then you did your first 10K, which was kind of by accident. It sounds like you're like, I'm going to sign up. Whoops. I'm awesome. In case you didn't know. And then it went from that to a full marathon, and now a 50K. Do you set time goals for yourself, or do you feel like you'll continue to just up your distance?
I think for me, I get more out of distance than I do time. I have like my PBs, like my 5K and 10K PBs. I could work at beating those, but I don't have the drive to do that. I like endurance. I like to say, I want to be able to say I'm an ultra runner. I think that would just be amazing. It's something that I never thought I would ever be able to say. So yeah, I think when it comes to setting times, I don't put pressure on it at all. With my Instagram that I started up, I purposefully show my stats for all of my runs, because what I've noticed on Instagram particularly is if you're slower, they don't tend to put their stats up. I think people get embarrassed by their stats. So I'm not a quick, I'm not the quickest runner out there. I'm probably below average, to be honest, when it comes to speed. But I like to make sure my numbers are out there. So not everybody is seeing a 6-minute mile, a 7-minute mile, an 8-minute mile. Like, I will upload a run that took me 12 or 13-minute miles to do.
Yeah.
On purpose, because I want people to see those numbers and be like,
your 5 mile, because I'm just looking, you can't see.
Oh, that was today. Yeah.
That's today. That's amazing.
That was this morning.
You're like, my slow times, and it's 5 miles in 49 minutes. That's awesome. I love that.
Well, today I picked up the pace today. So that was a bit quicker.
I think there's some extreme merit in some of the books I've been listening to. They talk about the running like the pros. Most people think that pros, and according to the research in the book, most people think that pros run really fast all the time, and they do, comparatively speaking. But for them, most of their runs are easy runs, and they run farther. And so with that, you do get faster. So you didn't start with a 5 mile under 50 minute, like a 9-minute 53 easy run. Like, that wasn't, you said you pushed a little hard, but
yeah.
There's probably a time where that would have been unfathomable.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So I love it. And I love
it. If we put it into perspective, originally when I first started running, I was running at about 18-minute miles back then. And now the fastest mile I've ever ran is 8:30.
You ran at 8:30? That's amazing.
I've only ever done it once as well. I've tried to do it again since, but
I have a 10K this weekend, which is mostly testing fuel and like what I'm going to be wearing on race day. So like, who would have thought like I could run 6 miles or I
amazing, which is amazing. 6 miles. Yeah. I mean, you just imagine how far that really is.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like I would. Obviously, like, you get to the point where you can run 6 miles, and then it's like, well, other people, you kind of compare, and it's like, well, other people can run a marathon, which is 26. But if you like don't compare it to anyone else, just remember how amazing, like 6 miles, like it's so far. It's amazing. And I don't think many people out there can actually say that they can run 6 miles.
I would agree. And if you're listening and you do not have a fitness plan and you watch my YouTube, I do not recommend going out tomorrow and trying to run 6 miles. Like I could not walk to my mailbox. I couldn't even walk for a workout. Like, it hurt so bad. So I would do like stationary exercises. I would do like squats, and I'd be close to like a wall or something where I could hold. Like, I started so small, but I did it so consistently, and it's been years. And while it's not like the Biggest Loser, like extreme weight loss really fast that the world really likes, my fitness, my weight loss, my relationship with myself has just improved incrementally. And I've done so much strength training that my muscles can handle it. I went 10 miles this past weekend, and the next day I wasn't sore. Like, sure, if I take my calf muscle and I press on it really hard, it's tender, but it's not like I'm like walking around like, oh, I'm so sore. Like, I just don't get that. Like, I don't get those feelings. I probably would if I ran faster, but I'm not trying to get hurt. So that's another hurdle for me to overcome in the future. But if you start where you are, wherever that is, you'll go further than you ever thought you could. I think that's my lure for distance. Sounds like that may be similar for you.
100%. It's patience. I remember telling myself, do you know what? Just go and do what you can. Give it a year. I told myself a year. Don't give it just 2 months. Don't give it, give it a year at least, and look back and see what you've done in that year. And it feels a bit daunting. A year is a long time, but you need it because you have to go slow. If you're starting in the position where you or I was, you have to do it slowly. You have no choice. Your body can't do yeah.
Well, and I think even too, like comparison, it will ruin you. Like comparing your body to somebody else's, or to just blindly do what anyone tells you should without thinking about it and figuring it out. Like, does this feel right? Do I feel good about what I'm doing? And not just, yeah, I mean, there's just so many layers, and there's ways we all know if we're abusing something in order to take an easy way out. The easy way out will never be the answer, but the hard way doesn't necessarily mean it's brutal.
Yes.
Sometimes the hard is just showing up every day and agreeing that you're going to make yourself be nice, even if you just put on your gym clothes and looked at the treadmill. Like, I'm still going to be nice to myself because that's a win. That's more than I would have done 3 months ago. Like, and it is. And then you have to go forward comparing yourself to yourself. And it's a beautiful thing. I think once you become really in tune with what makes us tick, I think there's so many stories. Like, I feel like your story is very powerful. And would you like to tell them where to find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Lucy Shaw Vlogs, and the same on YouTube.
So any last words?
Anyone listening, if you're thinking about trying it, give it a go. Believe in yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be consistent. Your body will continue when your mind wants to quit, and you've got this. 100%, you've got this, and just come and find me in April if you need a little bit of support.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing bits of your story, both just on your YouTube, on your Instagram, and then today on my podcast. I'm really grateful for you.
I was so good speaking to you. Thank you, April. Bye.
I'm so grateful Lucy joined me on this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed and you're watching, please click that thumbs up button. If you are listening, let me know on Instagram how you felt about it. I have a lot going on right now, so uploads will be very hit and miss for the next little while, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you in the future. And if you're from my YouTube, I look forward to sharing more videos with you in the future. Love you so much, and remember, you are worth doing the work.